and I was then put into some car, I suppose, some sort of vehicle, and I remember being driven down the Unter den Linden and past the Brandenburg Gate.
Oh, so you're in Berlin then?
Yeah. Right. And the whole of the Unter den Linden was covered with camouflage netting overhead. And I was driven to an aerodrome, I don't know where it is, somewhere near Berlin, and in a corridor in a building there, I was left confronting a German officer. Well, I think that he was probably the pilot who had shot down, who thought he'd shot down a plane. He thought it might be mine, but couldn't talk to each other because he didn't speak English and I didn't speak German. Then I was taken into a room there, and I was interviewed by a chap who purported to be a Red Cross man, but I doubt, he may have been, but I very much doubt it, because although I didn't see it, I was told by other people that there was a microphone underneath the desk, and in fact the conversation I had with him was broadcast by Lord Haw, and that is how my parents heard that I was safe. I was then taken, I don't remember, but I suppose it must have been by train, to Dulag Luft. Now there must have been an awful lot of air crew that had been shot down at that time, because I was taken to one solitary barrack hut surrounded by barbed wire, and I was in a room with a number of other people. I don't think we talked to each other much because I think they were all suspicious as to whether the place was wired for microphones and so on. I don't remember if we were given any food. I was there, I think, for anything up to 10 days. I believe that if we needed a toilet, that we hammered on the door and the guard escorted us down to a room with a bucket in it. And I was eventually taken to the interrogation centre. I was given a Red Cross form maybe before I was interrogated, I should think so. One look at the form was enough to persuade me that it was something I shouldn't go very far with, because it started with my name, rank and run number. Now I think the next question was the number of my squadron. And so I filled in my name, rank and number, and then I made a mistake. I was asked to sign the form, and at the same time a form purporting to be signed by a group captain was shoved under my nose. So I signed the form, which of course left the Germans to fill in all the questions that I hadn't, and then produced the form to persuade other new prisoners to fill in the whole thing. We then sat in front of a desk. Behind it there was a chap wearing an intelligence officer's uniform. He spoke good English. He then started to ask me questions, and I said, well, I can only give my name, rank and number, which I duly did. And I then said I can't answer any further questions, whereupon he, having been led up the garden path, got a bit irate. And so I said, well, he said, you put yourself in my position. I said, would you be able to answer any more questions? And I think it was at that point that he said, well, he said, you're wearing a civilian shirt, which I was. And he said, as you went answering my questions, you'll be handed over to the Gestapo, and because you're wearing a civilian shirt, you'll be treated as a spy and be shot. Anyway, I didn't believe this chap, and I simply said to him, you must do what you have to do. And I was then put into solitary confinement, but only for about 3 or 4 hours, and then moved into a transit camp. They were very clever, the Dulag Luft crowd.
Yeah, but I'd like to know, they must have had a wonderful spy thing to know all this information.
Well, a lot of it, as far as I was concerned, was just too easy, wasn't it? Because I came from, my father was at the consulate in Porto, in Portugal.
Oh, right.
He was a consul. And during the war, Portugal was neutral.
Yeah.
They could find out what they wanted about the British community there who joined up and done anything, as we could find out about the German ones too.
Oh, right.
And so that I can only assume that he got all that. He knew that my father was a consul in Porto.
Yeah. All right.
And that they got it. They're very crafty, Germans.
But I mean, that must have been a bit off-putting when they told you that.
Yes.
Didn't you feel?
Yes, of course, it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Try and make you pop your name, rank and number.
Yes.
Thing. But that shook me. But then I found out from others that that was Dulag Luft, that was what you were taken there for, interrogation.
No, the food was very good there, wasn't it? Wasn't the food very good there compared to the...
Well, I didn't get any. I was in solitary confinement, and they turned the heat on when you said it was too warm, and turned the cold on when you said it was too cold, and it was a bloody miserable room, full size of this, and food, soup I think it was. And I can't remember how long it took us to get from Frankfurt up to, and there we were actually crammed into cattle trucks.
Right.
We're all upstairs there, but there was nobody could sit down. But those who were wounded made more room for them. Those were just like 40 or 50 inside that compartment. Every now and again they stopped at an open place, and the Germans would shout, "Raus, raus, everybody out, raus," so that you could go and spend a penny or more. It was a lovely June day. They had me in there, and they decided, because I was the only one, that I might be fruitful. They put me in a cell and locked the windows, put the radiators on, and made me squirm. Right. I was sweating like a pig, and they didn't give me anything to drink either, and that sort of thing, for 24 hours. Honestly, this was bad.